up, everybody? I'm Sal Kalani. This is Reggie Steele. And welcome to Spitballin. Spitballin.
Yeah, that's right. We're starting it up, Reg. What up, everybody? I'm Sal Kalani. This is Reggie Steele.
And welcome to Spitballin. Ooh, you know what? Whenever I go back and listen to us, I always feel like I say the spitballing like a little reserved, like spitball, and versus just welcome to spit. Like I feel like I should shout it out.
You gotta spew out that spitballing.
I gotta spew out.
Reg, what are you
Spew
doing?
out the spitball. Man,
Got
I'm excited about
Cavs
today.
hat on, Reg. Yeah, because my Cavs are 8-1, in a row.
Yeah.
And little surprise, guess what, Reg?
What's that?
I'm going to watch them live tonight.
Are you really? Oh man,
your buddy came through.
Yeah.
Someone bailed on the tickets, and I was like, well, I'm down to go. He's like, if you want to go. He didn't mention any prices, which is good because I'm broke as a joke, so that ain't happening.
Yeah. Oh, so you're using my boy who got
your boy hit me up.
Lower section seats. Man, come on, Sal. What would you do without me, bro?
Oh, man, I probably have a successful podcast now.
Just for the record, I got a boy who got access to the LA Clippers by the testament of Sal going to the game tonight.
Wait. Access is a strong word. He has, what is he? Good seats.
Okay. He got great seats, lower section, not far from the court. Those seats are pretty good.
I'm really surprised. They'll be the best seats I've ever had.
Exactly. This is gonna be a different experience for you. So that's one.
Have you gone before at his seats?
No,
He's had them for a while, right?
He's had them for a while. We've gone to Dodgers games before down there in LA. But we never did he didn't have the Clippers tickets back then though.
No.
But I haven't been to the Staples Center. Oh no, we did go to a Clippers game.
The dude in like
no, we did. He and I did go to a Clippers game. That's right. Those seats are great, dude. I've been there once.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I had a friend of mine hit me up yesterday and offered me tickets to the Warriors Kings game tonight. I'm just saying.
Ew.
And then I have a friend who coaches with the Lakers, who I'm still,
we're waiting on that one. That's the one.
Yeah, we're gonna make that one happen.
You hear LeBron? It was pretty funny. He wore these Cavs shoes yesterday when they played the Lakers, and then he's like, they asked him about the Cavs afterwards. He's like, oh, a bunch of good young kids over there. They really want to play. I go on their social media. They're not sharing anything. They're all about the game. So a bunch of good kids out there who want to play, and then you got that Grandpa Kevin Love looking over all of them. It's great.
He said this after the game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
calling Kevin Love a grandpa and shit.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I mean, good for Kevin Love, man. He's having a second win now, coming off the bench on a good championship caliber team.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Wait. Championship caliber?
Yo. Who's stronger in the East right now besides the Bucks? The Bucks and the Cavs right now. It's early.
Yeah.
We beat the Celtics twice already, though.
Yeah, and
they
how
were
many
in the
games?
Finals last year.
We're in 9 games into an 82-game season. I'm gonna need you to slow up, Bucko.
Cavs are good, baby. All right.
Okay.
Why is it a special day, Reg? Who's your guest?
Oh man, today I'm excited to introduce our audience to a friend of mine who's
Should I click him in, or are you going to do the intro? How should we do this? You let me know when you're ready to introduce him, and I'll let him.
Okay. Today we have a guest for you. He's a friend of mine. He's a local comic based here in Oakland, California, and he's a very smart guy. He's got a lot of great opinions, strong opinions. Not afraid to say them. Fearless on stage. You can go ahead and start it because I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
Okay,
he is
get in.
He's actually friends with Dave Chappelle, and he is the most recent winner of the San Francisco comedy competition. Please welcome to the show.
There he is.
My boy and phenomenal artist and comedian, Chris Riggins. What's up, Chris?
I'm gonna put my headphones in. I see everybody.
Oh man, he got the headphones in. I feel like you in the studio. Yo, turn my mic up. Turn my mic up.
Turn it right quick. One time.
What's up, man?
Good to see you, Chris.
I'm good, man. I'm just sitting here in LA, doing a bunch of stuff and trying to stay busy, keeping myself out of trouble.
Awesome. That's the best way to do it, bro. I saw that you was in LA. I was wondering how we was gonna do this because I think I saw you had a show the other night somewhere. What was it? It wasn't a Laugh Factory, but it was like Melrose, maybe. I don't know. I know I saw you and a list of other people doing the thing.
I had a show. Where was that show? Oh God, it was a. I had a show at the setup. I did the setup last night.
Oh, okay.
You know, it wasn't on Melrose. I did a show in Lamert Park.
Okay. Okay.
With Michelle Murdoch from Crack 'em Up Thursdays, and we did it at this cafe. It's a metaverse show. So basically, it's like, you know, when we were all inside, people start doing these shows where we would be like in a studio recording for like that the VR, the
virtual reality.
Yeah, the Oculus thing. So we're doing a comedy show in the Oculus world, but now that we're able to go outside, we're trying to combine the two and have it like, you know, metaverse and live. But we had more people in the metaverse than we had live, but that was dope.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I didn't know, I haven't heard about that. You know, I've heard about the Zoom shows, but I didn't realize they had a whole, you know, I mean, that's next level, by the way, the VR.
I think, doesn't Chris Tinkle do something with VR show?
There's a couple of people that do it. I know Al Gonzalez does something with Failed to Render, which is a good show. And then I think a couple other people are doing it. But, you know, it kind of the Zoom, like I know Chocolate Sunday still does Zoom First Impressions on Wednesdays. I know Sammy Obey is still got KO Comedy going on Zoom. And
He's still doing that?
Yeah, he is.
Wow.
And I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, damn, motherfuckers still coming online. But then I realized the pandemic changed people. It made people like I know people. My boy, he's a manager for like several rap groups, and he doesn't go on the road anymore hardly because of the pandemic. He doesn't like to go out. He likes to manage from the house now. So there's a bunch of people who are scared, you know, they're gonna die of COVID. So they're still staying in the house.
I love that's funny because Sal just got a booster shot and
yesterday, so I feel a little
so he's a little
right
under
now.
Yeah.
Are we still doing boosters? Do we still got to get boosters?
Oh, it's been a year, baby. There's a new one right now. You gotta get ready for Christmas.
Oh fuck! I'll be real. I got vaccinated in March 2021. And that's the same vaccination card I'm using. I'm still on that vax. Johnson & Johnson, baby.
Yo, Team J&J too, bro. You know.
I mean, come on. They've been powdering my butt since I was a baby. Why would I go with somebody I don't know? I don't know
but you know, it came out that baby powder was giving people cancer, right? Like they had
Reggie, at this point, everything gives you cancer. Look, if I leave my water bottle in the
sun,
car too long and these little things beat up, that's gonna give me cancer.
The carcinogen.
Reggie got me on the Yetis.
Yeah, right. Yo, you got to get away from the plastic, bro. Got to leave the plastic alone. But we won't get into it because I go into a whole big thing about carcinogens and whatever else. So, Chris, man, before we get deep into the comedy stuff, first, I just want to introduce you to our audience and give them a chance to know, where you're from, who you are, how you got into comedy, where it started for you. And, we like to do a little background, figure out, what was the catalyst? Like, what was the thing that sparked that creativity, that interest in comedy? So,
you kind of know my story.
Okay. So where you from originally?
Berkeley, California, born and raised.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
And, you got siblings or was it just you?
Yeah, I got two older brothers. Subsequently, my older brothers and all my family's from Cleveland. So that's why I've always connected with Sal. Yeah, my brother was born in Cleveland and he went to Shaker Heights High. My mom and them grew up on the east side of Cleveland, St. Clair in 98. I believe it was. My grandfather used to have a house over there on 103.
That's where Bone Thugs lived at that time.
I did not know that at the time. Thing is, when I went to go visit as a kid, my parents wouldn't let me explore the neighborhood because I'm from Berkeley. We go explore the neighborhood. We go to adventures and it's safe. They was like, nah, fam, you can't walk around here. And I didn't know until Bone came out. I was like, oh, more murder all day. Okay,
You don't want to go to East and not. And
the funny thing about Cleveland, I didn't realize there's the East Cleveland, then there's East Side Cleveland.
Yeah.
So there's a city called East Cleveland, which is completely separate from East Cleveland, and it's weird. It's
wow.
There's the East Side, the West Side, and then East Cleveland. Yeah.
So how did your family end up? How'd they end up in California from Cleveland?
It was the 70s. My dad was studying to be an architect. He was actually selling insurance at the time. And Cleveland just wasn't his bag. He wasn't happy in Cleveland. And no disrespect to Cleveland, because a lot of good people.
I wasn't happy either.
There. But you understand the opportunities are different,
right?
Being in a place like Cleveland as opposed to being in a place like New York, LA, or the Bay Area. So
absolutely, yeah.
He got an opportunity to come out to the Bay Area. He took it. He came out. He became an architect. Worked for the Oakland Housing Authority for over 25 years. And basically, he left Cleveland because he wanted more opportunities.
Wow. Yo, big up to your pops, man, shout
out to him for that.
Yeah, straight up following his dreams, man. I appreciate it. Because, I grew up in the South. I grew up in Alabama. And there are so many people that are afraid to leave, right? Because that's all they know. And I've tried to explain to people, I'm like, man, move to California is so much opportunity. I mean, there's so many things you can do that you just can't do in certain places, right? In different parts of the world. So, but props to your pops for getting up and moving out, man.
Yeah.
Is your father still around?
Yeah, he's still around. They still live in the same house in Berkeley. I gotta actually call him back when I'm done with this. But yeah, they're still in the same house in Berkeley.
He's still architecting?
No, he's retired now. Now he's now he dances and sings in the church choir.
Wow, that's awesome. Yo, man, hold on, I gotta say this, man. Yo, I gotta give props to any Black person that I meet that got a dad, because I ain't have one growing up. So,
damn.
So every time I hear somebody say, "Man, my dad," I'm like, "Man, stop lying. You ain't got no daddy. You ain't got no daddy." I'm like, "Yo,
but Reggie, it's hard having a father in the Black community. Like, people think, oh, it's so great, but it's too many. So many niggas that ain't got their father. They be mad at you for having one. Like,
exactly.
Right.
Like, yo, you special because your daddy played catch with you. That wall played catch with me.
I'm up here sitting up here looking at you like, man, how you get to have a daddy? Like, what made him stay? Right.
But at the same time, I think I would have been a way better athlete had I not had a dad. So got that, Reggie.
There you go. Well, luckily for me, my story's all mixed up. So there was a dude, but then he died, and then I later find out there was another guy, and then he's still alive, and it's a whole thing. We don't have to get into it, but it's I don't know the other dude. Never met him. So,
the history of Reggie Steele.
Yo, it's next level. It's bananas over here, bro. Well, hey, man, that's cool. So your parents still live in Berkeley. Now, when did you start? When was comedy become a thing? Was there a lot of humor in the house as far as like, comedy albums or anything of that nature? Was anybody funny?
No.
Uncles?
I mean, of course, there's dynamics where people can be funny, but I think I was the funny person, the funny one in the family.
Okay.
And honestly, I didn't even look at comedy as a viable thing for me to do until I was challenged to do comedy. Really? I hadn't tripped off because, well, here's the thing. People always said, "Hey, you're hella funny. You should do comedy." And I'm like, yeah, making strangers laugh on stage is way different than making my drunk homies laugh backstage at a show.
Right.
Way different. Two different vibes.
Right.
And then backstage at a show while clowning on two of the homies. One, Smurf Griffin, and my man Brian Trent, who happens to be the manager and best friend of D'Angelo. So I'm roasting these two. I'm roasting Brian because he had this big puff coat on. I said he looked like a half a Michelin man. I was just clowning. And they was like, "Oh, you think you funny? All right, well, this was 2008, and they was like, well, Dave's coming to the new parish. Dave Chappelle's coming to the new parish.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Let's see how funny your ass is." And I thought they were joking, but being drunk at the time, I was like, "Yeah, let's go, gang. I'm not scared." And 2 weeks later, they called me like 2 days before. He was like, "You ready?" I said, "Ready for what?" Like, opening for Dave. I got you opening for Dave. You on the list and everything. Come through to the new parish and you opening for Dave. Funny man.
Wow.
All right.
That ain't even fair, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now, because during that time, 08, Sal Nye, Chris Tinkle, whoever else was in, Kevin Avery, Moshe.
Yeah.
Like, we were all opening for Dave at the Punchline, doing like Molly would tell us legitimately, she'd be like, "All right, be prepared to do anywhere between 10 and 45, depending on when."
No, it's stressful because you had no idea when you had no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. I already know.
Wow.
So let me ask you this first. How are you friends with like Smurf and everything? How are you even in that room?
Because I was working with this marketing company called Ankh Marketing in San Francisco, which is a event community party promotion. Like basically, they started Rock the Bells. They've been doing shows with Mos Def, Black Star, Talib Kweli, Erykah Badu, Common. That's how I know Talib and Mos and all these people from doing that. Because what I did for them was I started off street team, and then I started moving into transportation. So basically, when they came into town, I'm picking them up from the airport, taking them to the hotel,
Wow.
usually end up hanging with them because they're like, well, don't leave because I might want to run and do something. So just chill. So we chill, we smoke, we get to know each other and all this stuff. And so I got to know them through that. And basically, it was a New Year's Eve event, I believe.
Get the fuck out of here, New Year's Eve.
It was a New Year's Eve event. It was called the Sneakers Ball, and Mos Def was performing that night. This is before he changed to Yasin, and that's the night they challenged me to open up for Dave.
Wow. Dude, it almost like if I did I know Smurf peripherally just from being around, having done shows and being in the club, what have you, but like to throw a dude on stage on New Year's Eve in front of Dave
it wasn't even. No, the show didn't happen on New Year's Eve.
I'm sorry.
The
challenge. That's right. My bad. Okay. The challenge happened on New Year's Eve.
All right. So then you're going to do the parish, what? Like I imagine in January or something for Dave.
Yeah. It's like,
are you nervous like you're not even nervous? What are you thinking here? This is crazy.
Al, I'm nervous as fuck.
Yeah, you gotta be. This is insane.
And here's the best part. So it was one of those nerve-wracking nights. I'm like by myself. I didn't bring nobody.
Smart.
I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to expect. So I just came by myself.
Right.
And I knew most of the owners at the new parish from back in the day, the original, the top owner, Michael O'Connor. I knew him from when I used to rap in a jazz band when I was 16, and I went to the Independent and performed at his other venues. Okay. So I've known him since I was 16. Namani is Guapale's brother.
Yeah,
I grew up with him.
You grew up with Namani?
I grew up with Namani and Guapale. We went to elementary school together. Like their mom is my mom's friend, so we're cool. We're almost like we're actually family, basically.
Dude.
And so I knew all these people, but I didn't know what was going on. So I showed up, and then here's the funniest story. So I Smurf is up in the green room talking to Dave, and I just walk in the green room because I'm like, hey, I guess this is where I'm supposed to be. And fucking Smurf says, nah, you haven't earned to be in the green room yet. What I'm talking about, fam. This is not how it works. It's the green room. It's for the artists. Whatever. So I'm downstairs pacing, taking a drink, smoking, trying to do anything to get my head calm. And then Namani walks up to me, and I don't know. The thing about Namani is he's a straight shooter. He's one of those people that's going to tell you straight up some shit, and you can either get mad about it or you can appreciate the honesty.
Right.
And he was like, why are you nervous? Nobody came here to see you.
That's Namani. Oh my God, that's so Namani right there. That was perfect. That's honestly that's actually really good to hear at that point, because then it kind of takes the pressure off you.
Dude, it took so much pressure off. Yeah. And I just walked in the room, and Smurf went up and said, hey, I'm bringing up one of your own. It's Chris Riggins. He didn't tell nobody it was my first time. He just threw me up there.
Wow. Hold up. Hey, props to him, because no diss to anybody, but I know that Tony Sparks, the godfather of comedy in San Francisco, a lot of times when he puts up a new person, he'll get the room riled up, and it's like, this guy's his first time. Give it up for him. He builds up this huge expectation that the comic cannot, that they cannot live up to. So in a way, it's kind of like not letting them know gives you some, they'd be like, okay, well, he just had a good set, or he had a bad, whatever it was. Like, there's no pressure.
It wouldn't matter. And that's the thing. That's the kind of money made. It's like, it's not going to matter. If you bomb, they'll forget about it, because they came to see Dave Chappelle. They're going to see Dave 5 minutes after you're done. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I had written 3 jokes. I think I had 3 jokes. I had a joke about it being my first time doing comedy, and this is going to be uncomfortable, like the first time having sex. There might be some blood, And then I nervously embellished on that, and then I had a joke about how the Kardashians actually have championship pussy, because at the time, all the black guys fucking them were winning rings and shit. So I was like, oh, Lamar got a ring, Reggie Bush got the Heisman. Oh, these bitches got championship pussy.
That's hilarious.
And I was able to embellish. Now, here's the thing. I had no idea what a light was. I had no idea what 5 minutes was. I had no idea what any of this was. Smurf, and if you know Smurf, he has a drink or two sometimes, and he likes to smoke cigarettes. And at this time, Smurf decided to go back up to the green room with Dave to drink and smoke cigarettes for 25 minutes.
Jesus.
Sal, you hear this shit?
So there's no other openers? Like, you're the only one?
No, Sal, I'm the guy. No other openers. Dave, and the only reason I knew the set was ending was Dave walked into the room. You know how the new parachute set up. He walks into the back of the room. I see him. I'm like, thank God. My name is Chris Riggins. That's why I know what you mean by do anywhere between 10 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
First time out, I'm doing 25, and I don't know.
Wow.
Apparently, I had a good set. And I'll be real, there were circumstances that helped because most of the audience were people I knew because it was in Oakland. So it was a lot of people that were very surprised to see me on stage. I'm like, oh shit. So their support for me kind of propelled me through.
Right.
And so basically afterwards, Dave goes up and says, that's hilarious. That's funny. He's funny.
Wow,
and Smurf said, hey, come back tomorrow for the show tomorrow.
Wow.
And thus began my comedy career.
And that also kind of, you know what though? Because I was going to ask you about this later on at some point because, you know, I see that you and Dave are actually friends, right? And I know you're in, so it almost kind of like I see that having the relationship with Smurf and then having access to Talib and Mos and all those guys, it almost like you were kind of grandfathered in to some degree with Dave. Because Dave, you know, a lot of people don't know, Dave is, he's I feel like he's really closed off in a certain, like he's open, but he's closed off. Like he has a very tight network of people.
Yes.
And he's always been polite and kind, but it feels like it's really kind of hard to break into that group, right?
Yeah.
To some degree, which is great and smart for him.
Understandable.
Right?
I mean,
understandable. That's the word. Understandable.
Yeah.
So I was always curious I was like, man, because, you know, I've been to the shows and I've sat in the back of the room when Dave tells the joke about you, right?
Oh, yeah. The popsicles joke. Well, he conflates 3 stories into one joke, which
okay.
which is funny still.
Yeah, but he has it's a personal story that he tells about Chris, which is awesome to hear. Right?
I don't know,
and then knowing you.
Oh, it's a terrible story. You don't want to know what's out.
All right.
He told it to 75,000 people in Vegas. And I wasn't there. He literally said my name, told the whole story because, you know, he locks up the phones. As soon as the show is over, my message is, yo, I just left the show in Vegas. Dave totally said your name. Dave totally was talking about you. Dave made a joke of, oh my God, Dave was talking. And they said they were like, it was funny because in the audience, you're not sitting around all the Bay Area people, but they said as soon as Dave said my name, everybody from the Bay Area was like, yeah! So throughout the stadium, you could just see little groups of people like, yeah!
Dude, it's awesome. I mean, it's a funny story. I mean, I didn't know that it was all 3 stories put into one, but it's a pretty funny story. And it's a really cool moment to have, arguably, what I consider probably the greatest comedian of all time, of our time, right? Of our time. And from what I know from history coming up to this point, I don't think there's anybody that touches Dave based on everything, right? And so to have that dude kind of endorse you, even though the joke is pretty funny, you know.
So how can anyone hear this story? Can the audience ever find this clip, this bit?
I don't know if he records it. I don't know if he recorded. Someone said, so there's a rumor that on one of the edits of the last special, the story's in it. There's rumor that he actually did it, but it didn't make it to the special. So I don't know. I don't. It might be recorded somewhere. I think you just have to be at the punchline when I'm there with him because he does it every time I'm there.
Every time you're there. Okay.
And if we're together and you see us, he'll probably do it on stage.
All right. So I'm just gonna say this to our audience that's listening. I'm not gonna tell you what the joke is. I'm not gonna ruin it for you. I'm just gonna say go see Dave with Chris, or go see Chris when he's open for Dave, and then you'll get to hit the story, and it's hilarious.
The whole story.
Yeah, so
I just wish he would tell the other side of the story. Like, and since then he's become way better. Like, I just that disclaimer, like he's really good now.
Yeah.
That joke. No, it's
man, that's Chris. Look, we've heard a lot of origin stories, right? But I gotta admit, dude, this is a pretty good one right here. I mean,
it reminds me, I heard one once about Ralphie May, and Sam Kinison did something very similar where he put him up the very first time. And I want to say something like Ralphie like shit on Sam or something. Was trying to get something because he knew it wasn't his crowd, and he just ate it. And then Sam went up there and made fun of him.
Right.
But that's kind of dope. Sal, that's exactly kind of what happened. I didn't make fun of Dave. Dave just went up and made fun of my terrible joke. Because
Yeah.
mind you, Dave leaves out the part that this was my like 3rd month in comedy. And so
Right.
joke structure, I was going based on the fact that I was just a funny person. And,
Right.
you know, I was really using my rap stage persona to
Oh,
help
you
me
did
with
have
my
that.
comedy stage persona, because it's like, okay, I've been on stage, I've spoken to Mike, I rapped, and, you know, I've been the center of the attention. So I know that part, but there's no music. So
Okay.
now it's a matter of trying to manipulate that energy into jokes. And so, yeah, you know, I told some terrible jokes in the beginning. I think we all did.
Well, we all did. Yeah, don't worry
Many
about
people just
that.
didn't tell them in front of Dave Chappelle.
Terrible. Yeah, I was gonna say
That's true.
terrible. I don't
That's
think
true.
I don't think I told a terrible joke. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. So, all right, Chris. So this is the thing. Most of us started off in little open mics in front of, you know, 7 or 8 people, right? Trying to work our way up to the big crowds and the big shows. You start off in front of, you know, this phenomenal talent in front of an audience. Where do you go from there? Like,
Down.
yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah, right. Like you're at the highest high.
The
yes,
humbling that happens afterwards, because before, you know, really the only times I did comedy was with Dave for the first month and a half of comedy, because this was right after Chappelle show. He was hiding out in the Bay Area.
Mhm.
He was doing all those little secret shows. So I was literally on all those little secret shows. I
Oh,
was
wow.
doing majority of those shows like at the Independent. That's how I got into the Punchline, really, because he was doing a show at the Independent, and you know, Molly and all them and the Live Nation all came to that show, because at that time they were like, why is he not doing Live Nation venues?
Right,
And
right.
it was because, you know, the contract he had with Comedy Central was still in effect, and you know, he couldn't do much. You know, contracts are contracts. You can't really, and he was really just trying not to be exploited, which I totally understood.
Right.
And so he wasn't doing shows there. So then finally, you know, they came and saw me, and then Jeff Zamario was like, "Come by the Punchline, you know, next week." So I went by, and that was the first time I got up on Sunday Showcase.
Wow.
And then slowly, surely, I started getting hosting gigs through the Punchline. But that was because of me doing shows with Dave, because it was kind of one of those things. It's like, well, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's how I know. That's how I first heard of Reggie, and so that's how I started hearing about you guys, because it was like, these are the guys that normally open for him. You know?
Right.
Like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry, my bad, guys.
Well,
no, hey,
I'll say
whatever
this,
works.
before I knew you, right? I used to see you. Like I would see you sometimes when Dave was in town, right? And you just be kind of walking in and out of the green room on, and you know, like big up and whoever. And I was like, okay, this dude he's a local. I'm like, who is this dude?
Who is this guy?
Who is this dude? But you know, and then I knew Numani from, you know, whatever years back. And so having access and you having access, I was like, all right, so these guys must be in with Dave. Like I thought you were probably just a part of his entourage or something, which
Right.
And he don't really have an entourage, but just like his in crowd or
At
whatever.
that time, he didn't have entourage. Now he has a full-on entourage.
Yeah. Well, then I started to go, and then I ended up going to a couple spots in Oakland, right? I want to say the Starlight Room, right? And then I think that's where I really started to really get a chance to see you.
Yeah, because I was hosting the open mic at the New Parish at the time. Because like Smurvin was like, you gotta get your chops up. So truthfully, I didn't go to other open mics for the longest, because I just had my open mic every Tuesday at the New Parish. And I don't know, for some reason comedians really liked doing open mic at the New Parish, because we had the big stage,
right?
And we
it feels like a real show.
Yeah, we tried to create an audience.
Right.
Like I had people like Marzano Vance hitting me up thinking it was a book show.
Right.
I had all these people, and then what really helped was that Smurv would bring Dave to the open mic every now and then. So one time he brought Dave, and Dave brought Chris Tucker. And, you know, Smurv texted me at 11 a.m. Hey, so Dave and Chris Tucker are coming to the show tonight. Don't tell anybody.
Oh,
wow.
So I'm sitting there like, I can't tell nobody. So
I know, like, this could be the best open mic ever.
You fucking up my career, man.
Exactly.
The whole day goes on, the mic comes, and it's actually a pretty full mic that night. It's actually a good amount of comedians. And
are you worried it's going to be shitty when you have these celebrities showing up?
Oh my God, because people, it's a long mic. So I'm like trying to get Smurv to let Dave go up sooner, but Dave's taking forever to get there, because this is when Dave was starting the private jet life, and he's taking forever to get there. So finally they show up at like 10 o'clock, and the whole time I'm telling people, don't leave. Like, I gotta go. I'm like, bro, don't leave. Just stay.
Like it's worth it.
Just trust me. Stay. And so everybody stayed. And when Dave popped up with Chris Tucker, that was it. That was now Chris Riggins is the man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And well, and your open mic now becomes a place where it's like, yo, we gotta go here because you never know who's gonna pop up.
And that's the thing. He popped up again where he hosted the open mic, and he let I picked 10 of the best open mic perform, the 10 best people from our open mic to perform while Dave hosted. Of course, with some smurf, not that person, not that type of shit.
Yeah.
And that was the night because I closed it. First time closing anything. That was the night I did the popsicle joke.
Oh, okay.
And that's the joke he's talking about. It's a terrible joke. Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's not a bad joke. I executed it bad. That's the thing I should start saying. It wasn't a bad joke. The premise is pretty good. The premise is basically nobody can eat a popsicle without looking like they sucking dick. That was the
I remember you saying this joke, I think.
Yes. That was the premise. The part that was bad was I used my daughters in the joke. And that's where the joke went bad because they were like, "Bruh, you can't do that." You can't do that.
That's a boundary. Once you cross that one, it's everyone's like, "Oh,
I
don't know how I feel about this."
Kind of how it
now.
happened. They were like, "Oh,
exactly."
Okay."
Because at first it's like, "Oh yeah, that's hilarious." And then it's like, and I was watching my daughter. Oh,
yeah, I was watching my daughter eat a popsicle, and I had to snatch it out of her hand because it was getting too real for me. And I was like,
yeah, that's all bad, bro.
You live and you learn.
You live and you learn.
Now I have a joke forever. Dave Chappelle has a forever joke about me. And I'll be real. This is only if they don't put like this, if they don't see this podcast, they will never hear me recite or talk about that joke again. They'll just have to guess which joke Dave is talking about.
Right. You're like, that joke is dead and buried at this point. Although the premise, I mean, you could bring the premise back if you could do it. Right.
I try. I was thinking about trying, but now I'm at the age where I gotta talk about other shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And no one's eating popsicles like that anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of moving.
I mean, Reggie, I see does, but other than that,
I keep a popsicle. As soon as when I go off screen like this, I got a popsicle.
Is that out of pop or what?
That's all right. I'm gonna be my popsicle.
That's real talk.
All right, so you got the open mic. Dave drops through. You broke into the punchline at least on Sunday nights, and this is where we're looking at 2010, 12. Like, is this a couple years in now?
I would say 2009, 2010. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, 2010 because my second daughter was born. That's
okay. And from there, now, do you get to travel with Dave at this point a little bit, or is it like you're still just working? Okay, you're just making it happen.
I still get to travel with Dave. I still haven't traveled with Dave. I still don't get that opportunity.
Okay, so it's the local stuff.
It's and the thing about there's politics behind everything. I don't really know why I haven't traveled with him, but whenever he's in town, he hits me up, and I have an open invitation to perform anytime with him.
Right.
When he's in town, except when he does the big one. Well, here's the thing. Hey, Dave, if you watch this, let me open for you on December 10th at the Chase Center. That'd be really major, fam.
Dude,
that'd be major, fam.
Him and Chris Rock. You get to walk out.
Rock with them. That's right.
Actually,
yes. Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, those are my two favorite comics in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like to have the opportunity to walk out before both of them, to even just say, welcome to the Chase Center. You have a phenomenal show ahead of you, but first, I'm Chris Riggins.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, I already know if I walk out on that stage at the Chase Center, because if they call me and say, yo, you're opening, I'm not gonna tell nobody. I'm gonna just let mom see. I'm just gonna, because I can guarantee you. I mean, not even trying to be like on some like I'm the shit. I'm not even trying to be like that guy. But I know my standing in the Bay Area. I've been in the Bay Area my whole life. I've rapped, I've done parties, I'm known. People know me.
Right.
And I feel like if I walk out on that stage, I will probably get one of the biggest cheers of the night. And not saying Dave won't get his cheer, but for me to get 20,000 of those people to just be like, that's my boy. because I just feel like that's what it's going to be. But I'm I'm not holding my breath. I'm not anticipating anything. I'm just gonna know. I know even if I don't perform, I'll be there.
Right.
So do you get like, do they text you when you're there, or you just like text them like, hey, I'm going to show up to the show? Or are you like worried, will I get on? Like, that's got to be all over the place.
It varies. Like Molly normally books openers for him. And so she doesn't necessarily, I don't have to go through her for Dave. Like basically she's kind of basically made it clear that look, you can call Dave and he'll tell you if it's good or not. So you don't have to ask me. Right. And so, it's one of those things that sometimes he'll call me. Sometimes I get a text from Cena or somebody saying, hey, are you in town? But then most time I see he's coming, or I know he's coming through our friendship grapevine. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna come through. And he's usually like, cool, pull up, got you.
Okay, cool.
And then usually, they throw me some time whenever I'm around them. And, it helps. Every little bit of it helps.
Hey, look, I'll just say this. Whether you go on the road with him or not, just to be able to have that level of access and that friendship and have it be genuine and sincere, that's a great thing, right? Yeah. All the other stuff will fall in place in time. So that's not even, that is whatever it is. But man, that's really cool, bro. That's really cool. I hope, look, I'm putting it out there for you. I hope that happens, even if they're like you're just gonna be the guy who introduces the show, like welcome people.
I mean, shit.
Right.
Let me do that. Be the DJ hype man. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll warm it up. That's all.
Yeah, give me 5 minutes to come on and welcome people. I'll do a joke or two and be like, yo, let's get it started.
Yeah. Right? And the thing about it is like, I get it. I understand the politics of it. So it's not, and I won't say politics, that makes it sound like it's shady. I understand how this business works.
Right.
And I realize that Dave probably has a Chris Riggins in every town. And
no, you think?
I mean, not like that. I mean, but every town he has a comedian that he knows that kind of. But I think our relationship is different because I did meet him the first night I did comedy. Like there's a special connection that we have, and also me and him are both Virgos. So,
and you also know his people, right? Yeah. Knowing Smurf and the other guys.
It's been over a decade now.
Yeah. I mean, I know family. I've hung out with kids. I went to Ohio for the
you went to Yellow Springs?
Yeah, I went to Yellow Springs for the summer.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And it was dope. And the thing that really solidified, because in this life, sometimes we feel when people don't always reach out to us, they aren't connected to us. They aren't really feeling us. You know what I mean? We're like, oh, I don't talk to Dave on a regular basis, but when I showed up in Yellow Springs and I texted him at the airport, I said, I'm in Columbus, I'm coming through. The hug he gave me when I got there, and this is COVID.
Wow. Yeah.
So after I got tested and he's like, that Dave thing.
Yeah. That's when it's real. Like you've touched him.
Riggins, you know what? All these people came to see me. Happiest that you came. So happy.
Good Dave.
Wow.
And even though it's so much going on, he always took a few minutes to say, "Are you good? Do you need anything?" Really happy you came.
Wow.
And I see how it works because like he had a birthday party that was kind of like private outside of the big camp he was doing. And I get a text from Tina, hey, Dave wants you at his birthday party. Cool.
Wow.
I needed that because at that moment I was in the midst of being around all these celebrities, all these people, and I'm sitting here thinking like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Right.
How do I know this guy? How do I know this person? And then to have him introduce you to all these celebrities as this is my friend Chris Riggins, talented comedian. Have Jeff Wills introduce you to people. Hey, this is Chris Riggins, a very funny comedian. When you don't feel like stuff is happening for you, you still realize that people are watching you.
Right. Right.
Because when I won the comedy competition, I texted Dave, hey, I just won the comedy competition. He, did an emoji, whatever. And then about an hour later, he FaceTimed me. And he's like, bro, I'm so proud of you. I'm so fucking proud of you. He said, you know how it's Team Chappelle? He said, nigga, I'm Team Riggins. I'm and it hit me in a sense that, maybe he doesn't take me on the road with him. And it's not because he doesn't think I'm dope or talented.
Right.
Maybe he sees that I'm a headliner,
Right.
Maybe he feels that, this is not an opener. This kid, this man is not going to be opening for people. He's going to be headline. And that's kind of how the mentality I've taken. Like, no, I'm not tripping off going on the road, opening up for this, that, and the person.
Yeah, damn that.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, you're getting
person to open it for.
I was gonna say, when you're getting personal endorsement like that, right? that's the level of confidence that has to instill in you, right? The level of belief in yourself that somebody of that caliber is recognize you as someone who does this on a high level, regardless of whether you go, like I said, it doesn't matter because you're getting the real stuff. Now, all the other stuff on the outside, that's nice for other people to see, right? But when you're getting the real thing, then use that as motivation to keep promoting, to keep moving, to stay in LA, to do the shows, to speak up for yourself, to endorse, you know what I mean, to advocate for yourself and your opportunity, because that has to, like, even me just hearing that lights a fire in me, right? That makes me feel like, yeah, like, who do I got to call for Chris Riggins? Like, yo, let's get this thing popping, right?
Yeah, and so, that's the thing. It's just a matter of, the blinders. You have to stay focused on kind of what you're doing, because there's so many distractions. And yes, a big distraction is being friends with celebrities, because you have to remember, like, for instance, with Dave, Dave's been in this industry for 30 years. So he knows so many people, and there's so many relationships he's built, that your relationship is a small speck in his relationship life.
Right.
But the fact that he sees it is good enough. The fact that I can pull up to any of, like, he's told me, literally, wherever I am in this world, if you get a plane ticket there and pull up, you're with us. And that's all I need to hear.
That's it. That's an open invitation, bro.
Because it's even happening down here, hanging out, like, literally hanging out at the Comedy Store one night. Nobody's, you know how it is, the Comedy Store. People walk by you. They don't want to, if you're not famous or you're not somebody to do something for them, they don't really pay you much attention.
Right.
So, I'm just sitting there, and then all of a sudden down the hall, Dave Chappelle yells, "Chris Riggins!" And then this whole hallway of people sees me, and it sees Dave come and embrace me. And now when I go to the Comedy Store, those people that were there work there now. And they're like, "What's up, Chris Riggins?"
Wow.
Right.
So it's those little, like, it's just knowing him.
Dude, that level, I'm telling you, that level of endorsement is bananas, bro. Like, especially for LA. It's so hard to get on and to be seen in LA in a lot of ways, right? And Sal could probably speak to this, but to have somebody,
I'm a good example.
But to have somebody of that caliber walk in and shout your name out, and because of the nature of the industry there, right? He shouts your name out, they look at him and they
that's
go,
all that matters.
Well, it's like, oh, that dude endorsed that dude. All right, well, we want to get in with that dude, right?
Yeah, that's how I got into comedy. That's how I know the booker at Comedy Store. That's how I know so many people at Comedy Store now, because hanging out in that back bar with Dave, and they all come back there to see Dave and chill, and they see you with him, and they're like, "Wow, how are you back here?"
Right.
And then they start hanging. They're like, "Okay, you're cool as fuck. That's why you're back here."
that's like me watching you at the Punchline, walking out of the green room. I'm like, well, how this dude? Who is this? I got who is this dude? So, wow, man, that's a really great story. So I want to ask you this though. So we're gonna go way back, right? The very first show, you write 3 jokes, right? 3 jokes, and then you end up having to stretch 3 jokes into 20-25 minutes, right? Now that extra time was just you talking, or did you have other ideas? And then from there, tell me how you started to refine and develop the jokes. Like, did you figure out how to write jokes? Did you start watching people? Like, how did the process begin for you after that?
Well, first thing, when I was formulating these 3 jokes, I literally just wrote down the first 3 funny things I thought of in my head.
Okay.
And I wanted to draw attention to me, this being my first time. I thought that would be a great way to get them on my side, because I know once they see it's your first time, they're a little bit more compassionate. They're like, "Oh, yeah, all right, well, let's give the little nigga a chance," I think
get a little nigga a chance. You make it sound like they gangsters in the back. Get a little nigga a chance.
Get a little nigga a chance. You know, get a little nigga. It was Oakland, bro. It was a different Oakland. 2008 Oakland. Right after the hyper movement. So
yeah, exactly. So when you say that you knew and you started that material, they go from this to be like, all right, get a little nigga a chance. Let's see what you got.
Right. Okay. I'm trying. So
yeah, I'm trying. Okay.
The thing was, I've always been able to riff. Not just, I guess I didn't know it was riffing. I've been able to talk to people and improvise and be able to create conversation on the fly. And that's kind of what I did. That's when I learned about crowd work, because I was talking to the crowd. I started talking to people, and then it was people I know. So I'd say something to somebody I know. "Hey, bro, you owe me $5." It was one of those moments where it's just like, I took the moment, the momentum, the energy and the fact that the room was full of people that I knew and some of them loved me. So I was like, let's just do it. I think that's one of my strong suits still to this day, is being able to come up with stuff on the spot. What really happened after that was I took those 3 jokes and I ran with them for like 3 months.
Okay.
Like I literally had no idea how to write a joke. I didn't know anything about open mics. I didn't know anything. And then finally I went to an open mic at Pepper Belly's.
Oh, Pepper Bellies.
Remember the Pepper Bellies?
Burned
Pepper
down.
Bellies in yeah, burned down. Like, you know, Pepper Bellies. And it's a light night. It's not a lot of people. And up to that point, I had been doing really good because I went to the Brainwash and I killed that 5-minute set. I did Pepper Belly's previous show when they did it in the bar, not the theater. It was in the bar one night.
Oh yeah.
I had a good set there. So I'm thinking I'm hot shit with these 3 jokes. Get on stage at Pepper Belly's and they're like, nah, fam, these 3 jokes ain't working. And then I go into my riffing. All right, I'm just gonna talk shit to people. Hey, well, you ugly, all that shit. And Matt Gubsner. I don't know if you guys, you know.
Oh yeah, I know
Matt.
Matt.
Jesus, beard, long.
This is when he was really in his Jesus shit. This is the dad. I call him the stepdad of comedy, because he's just such a sweet guy.
Yeah.
He's like, he starts heckling me.
A comedian starts heckling another comedian.
He's like, because I try to roast him, and he's like, try writing some jokes. And
That's a stab with a turn.
Right. And so after that, I went and I just literally just started writing anything I could think of. I didn't have a writing style. I didn't know how I wrote. I didn't even know my voice. I was just saying shit. And a lot of it was emulation of Dave. A lot of it was Killing Me Softly emulation and Dave, you know, his whole demeanor. And then whatever other comedians I liked, you know, Eddie Griffin and Eddie Murphy. I'm trying to copy what they do stage wise.
Right.
But material wise, I'm not fucking there. And so then I just started, you know, developing little jokes. Like, you know, I found the way to develop jokes, and then you start off with a small bit. You do that bit, get the laugh, and then every show you add a little bit more. You try to add more to that joke to create.
They're trying to grow. Right.
Yeah, trying to grow this joke. So, you know, I started off with very short jokes. I started off doing very short jokes because I didn't have any idea how to do it. Then I got long-winded because I started getting comfortable.
Right.
And so that stretched into people thinking I could do 30-minute sets. And I could, but it just wasn't 30 solid minutes, you know?
Right.
Like, this is 30 minutes. It was like 5 minutes of fire and 25 minutes of trying.
What I call it is like you were able to sustain your personality, right? Like who you are because of the nature of who you are, you could do that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the material was there to sustain 30 minutes of material. Like I can go up and be Reggie Steele, or I can go up and be Chris Riggins for 30 minutes. But material-wise, I'm not there yet.
I'm not there yet.
And what I'm hearing too is you went through everything that we all go through at the beginning of, you know, performing, like beginning of being a comic, where it is literally like I used to have this whole philosophy where it was like the difference between an open micer and a headliner is that an open micer has a premise, no joke, right? The opener has a premise and a joke. The feature has a premise, a joke, and then a couple tags, right? And then the headliner has a story. They start with the same premise, but it's a story. It's not necessarily a joke and a bunch of tags. It's a story. It's a whole developed thing. So to hear that you went back to this at this point where it was just, you know, really short jokes, small jokes. That's where you were supposed to be developmentally as far as starting off as a comedian.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But,
and the thing is, like, when you start off at the high level that you start off at, even going down there, it's jarring. Right. It's like, wow, I opened up for Dave Chappelle. What the fuck am I doing here? But this is before, you know, I have Dave's number. This is before we have a relationship. This is when I'm just that nigga that opened up for him that one time.
Right.
You know, this is so. Then Smurf was like, all right, well, let's do an open mic so you can practice. And that's what the open mic in the New Parish was. It was my practice. So I would end up. The reason why the show went so long is because I would go up and I didn't know time. So I'd just be up there talking until people, like, I would start the show literally before a lot of people that was comedians. So I'm just talking, doing little quips, just stories and And that's when I realized, oh, my life stories are funny too. So I'm telling life stories and I'm doing this and I'm fucking with people. And then the crowd comes in and I'm fucking with the crowd. And then I bring a comedian and then I'm doing jokes in between. And that's how I developed really on how to be funny, because it was like, I'm just going to go up here and say shit until it works. And being that it's my open mic, I could do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Hold on. I got to share this with you. There used to be a place on Shattuck called Dorsey's Locker.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, Lunel used to drop in, right?
Well, I was going to say, this is early when I'm just getting started. I'm sitting in the back room. Hardly any comics show up, right? It's probably like maybe 4 of us, but it's Lunel.
Yeah.
Lunel starts the show off, bro. She does 15 minutes, right, at the top. She brings on the first comic, does 5 minutes. She goes back up. She does like another 15 minutes. Dude, it was like a 3-hour show with like 4 comics on it.
Yeah.
And Lunel, I mean, even after the last guy, she probably went up and did another 20 minutes. But she was doing 15 minutes between each comic. Like, I just envisioned that's you at the Parish where you're like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what happens, because, you know, it was other people who weren't as advanced. Because here's the thing, Reggie, we can't lie. There's talent in people that just can't be taught.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Some
God-given gift. Right.
Yeah. Some people come from a background of being able to perform. Luckily for me, it started in church. My mom signing me up to read the scripture at the 8 a.m. service, or doing a poetry for Black History Month at the church, or being in the church play. I've always been on stage, so I'm comfortable with stage in front of people. Yeah. And so it was just a matter of taking my emulation and making my own style. And once I realized, wait a minute, I've done this before. I've been here before. Let me just be comfortable on stage. That made things so much easier as far as getting up there and doing those hosting gigs where it's like, yeah, I'm just fucking with people now.
Okay. Right. So let me ask you this now. So what is your not your style, but what is your technique in writing now? Right? Like, how do you develop material? Where does it come from? And then are you sitting down and writing out the material, or you still have premises and then allow yourself room to go where you want to go? You know what I mean? Like, what's your writing style now?
Well, at first I thought there was one writing style, only one writing style. You have to sit down with a pen and pad and you have to write. Because I see these comedians with these notebooks full of just jokes and all this shit. I'm like, like I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, I got a word. I wrote a word down. I wrote a word I thought was funny, you know, and then I go up and I say the word and I say something around the word. You know, I have over the years developed a writing on stage type of style.
I feel Dave does that too.
That's me too.
And this is where a lot of people compare me to him, not in the like, you know, you're trying to be like him, but in the ability to, like, for instance, I was talking to Kasim one night. I was doing a show with Kasim and it was like Baron Vaughn and it was the New Negro show.
Oh, okay.
And I just was sitting there looking and someone said stepdads. And I said, you know what? I need to find my kids a stepdad. And I told that to Kasim. I was like, I'm gonna find my kids a stepdad. They seem like they try really hard. I mean, I don't really try. I made them. I'm good. And they, you know, stepdad, you know. And I go on stage and it's the first joke I talk about for 5 minutes. And
that's
he was
hilarious.
Like, dude, you just thought of that backstage? Like, yeah. And that's kind of how I write. I come up with an idea. You can't. That's the thing. It's like you can't really test a joke on yourself. You gotta get up there and trial and error.
You gotta get up and try it.
Because there's so many times you're like, this is funny, and then it's not to them.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And I think the issue is writing styles is all different. Everybody writes differently. Everybody's mind works different. And after being diagnosed with ADHD, I realized that my style wasn't wrong. That's just what works best for my brain. My brain works better with fragments. Like I can write just a sentence of what I'm thinking, and then I can embellish on that, and I can just create stuff, and then I write on stage. So I'll write some things down, but then I go up stage and I'm like, oh, that works way better if I do it like this. Right. You know, so
because a part of it too is I used to try to write out jokes, and I realized that I don't write how I talk, right? Because there's a whole technique to writing properly, right? In literature, right? There's rules to it, but in talking, you don't, you know what I mean? So
no, right.
You're talking, you cut words, you chop words, you bring
Right.
words in ways,
Right.
you say words in different ways, you use word like you can write on a piece of paper 2 words that don't rhyme. But if you say them a certain way, you can make them rhyme.
Exactly.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Exactly.
So it's kind of like rappers. Like this is the thing that rappers have. You know, like I've seen Quali's notepad, and I'll see a page, and I'll see 2 words like those words don't rhyme. But then I hear him rap it. I'm like, oh, it's how you inflicted it, made it rhyme.
Right.
You took the I and G off, now it rhymes with that. So it's the same thing. You know, your creative process just has to be unique to you.
Right.
And one thing a lot of comedians think is that they have to, like, I've seen comedians stress out because I don't have enough, I don't write enough. It's like, just calm down.
Right.
Write when you write. You know, don't force yourself to write unless it's a job. Like if you're a script writer for a show, you have to have something written done. But even then, that's different than writing a joke you're going to perform yourself. Because at the end of the day, these jokes are our thoughts and ideas. These are what we think. This is that's what it's supposed to be. When we see something, we find the humor in it, and then we talk about it. And if you are writing it down, you have to write it how you're going to memorize it. Almost like how you write notes for memorizing to pick up bread. You know, you might not say stop at store 6 p.m. pick up bread. You just might write, hey, get bread.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
You know that means stop at Safeway and get the bread with the whole grain and make sure you get the right loaf. But you don't have to write all that. Right.
Well, you know, I will say this though too. I think sometimes with comedians, they get really comfortable, right? They'll get comfortable with the material, and I'll admit that I've been guilty of this myself, where I got enough material, or I've had enough material where I'm like, okay, I can do this. This works, and I know I can do this in different places. And so sometimes what would happen is I'd find that I wasn't expanding, like I stopped growing because I got comfortable with that. So there is something about needing to still be, you know, still try and test out stuff involved, because it's easy to get comfortable and do the same material in different places, right? Like, right. Like I got jokes that I've had for 5 years that I've never done in Boise, Idaho, right? And so there's a comfort of like, okay, I can go to Boise and do this, but it doesn't resonate as real to me now because I'm so far past it. So it feels like I need to create something new or something different, right?
No, I hear that.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like with this competition, you know.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I want to know.
Yeah,
this is a long process.
Hold up though. I want to just say this real quick. So just so our audience knows, Chris Riggins, he's the most recent winner of the San Francisco comedy competition, which started the international comedy competition.
Only the international.
There's 1 or 2 Canadians are usually in it.
The international comedy competition. But this competition started in 1976. And there have been a plethora of famous comedians who have won this competition, have not won this competition, come in second place, third place, whatever the case may be. And I mean, in that list, in the first year, Robin Williams took second place in this competition, right? In the second year, 77, Dana Carvey from Saturday Night Live won this competition. You got Marsha Warfield, who's a winner. You got
Black woman winner too.
Yes, the first Black female. And Marsha Warfield was on Night Court. She's hilarious. Will Durst, Doug Stanhope won it. Sinbad.
Stanhope has a famous one because he went against Dane Cook, and the first night supposedly they battled, and Dane Cook's manager told Stanhope like, "Oh yeah, you're not winning this. This guy's winning the whole thing." And Stanhope used it as motivation. He's like, "All right, fuck you. I'm winning the whole goddamn thing," and he beat him.
Yeah.
We got on this list of people who've been in the competition: Rob Schneider, Mark Curry, Dan St. Paul. It's been just a list.
Sal Kalani.
I got you right here.
2011 yet?
2011. Sean Kent won Sal's year.
Yeah,
Alex Cole came in the second, and Sal Kalani came in third.
First between us at the last night.
But the point being is that this competition throughout the years for decades has been prestigious and has drawn a lot of interest from a lot of different places. And and this past year, our dude right here, Chris Riggins, and I saw him right before because Dave was in town.
You did,
and he was
the week before the finals. That was the week of the finals that we saw each other.
Yep. And talking to Chris was like, he's like, "Yo, man, I'm trying to win this." He's like, I'm winning this. And so I would have, we exchanged messages a couple of times on Facebook where I'm like, "Yo, man, how was last night?" He was like, Your boy got first. Like, okay, hit him up again. How was he?
Nice.
Like, I got second, but my points are right here. And then
Those points.
those points.
Points,
And then I
man.
hit him up. I hit him up on the last one because I, got busy. And the last message was something like, yo, man, how did that competition, like, how did things end up? And he just hit me back with winner. I was like, yeah.
Who was your competition in that end there?
In the finals, there was Wyatt Cody from SoCal, Max
Mario.
Eddy from San Francisco, Mario Hodge from Oakland, and Joe Abushaker from Southern Cal as well. It was a sausage fest, but it was good competition. And the thing about it, I was gonna say, because Reggie, you said about doing the same set. That was one of the things that helped me get through the competition, was understand I can't do the same set. And it was like, Wyatt Cody, hilarious guy. He went through the whole competition, 3 weeks, same set. He literally did the same set the whole way. And it looked like he was very comfortable in it in the prelims and semis. But the thing about it that I feel like put the edge over was the fact that in the finals, I went in there and I talked to past winners. So I talked to Dave Nihill, I talked to Ellis Rodriguez, I talked to a couple of people who were in when I figured out, okay, the points is where I need to go.
Yep. I
started developing my sets for the city we were in. So the first night of the competition, of the finals, we was at Rossmore, which is a retirement village.
Oh, I've done that one.
Walnut Creek. You remember that one?
Yes, I did that one.
Clean set, TV clean, 8 to 10 minutes.
Old people.
I remember you talked about this set too. I remember you talked about this.
Yeah.
Wheelchair old people. And Dave Nihill told me, he was like, just talk about them. Just talk about what's going on there. And so I went on their website, I found out all their clubs. I did research. They found out they have a cannabis club on their site. And, and so I just did my whole set about, I'm going to move in. I'm moving in with y'all. This is a great place. My kids got to go through security to see me. Let's go. I'm moving in. And then, you know what I'm saying? I talk to, oh, you smoke weed, Bruce? We neighbors now, and that, once that put me, because that put me 2 points ahead of everybody in the rest of for the rest of the week. Like, I'd start off 2 points ahead of everybody. And so the next night I got second place. And it didn't matter because I was still in first place overall. And so that third night I just said, you know what? I'm not playing with these dudes. I love these guys. They're really dope, but I'm about to eat these motherfuckers lunch. And I went up there and I just kind of blacked out on them in the third show. And when I got that first place, Wyatt Cody looked at me and said, well, I guess we all got to fight for second now.
And then Wyatt Cody, he got second.
Where was that show? That third show?
The third show was at Carmel. It was at a winery in Carmel by the sea. You got to say Carmel.
There are some. It's just interesting because they're all over.
Carmel Valley. Okay.
Well, that's the thing about this competition that I actually, at first, I was like, man, why are none of these shows in San Francisco?
Right.
And then it hit me because the challenge is taking yourself out of San Francisco and putting yourself in communities that you don't be in, and seeing if you can be funny to anybody.
Yeah.
So, like we did, Antioch. It was basically an old group of people. Did San Rafael, Chico, let's say Carmel. The final show was in Arroyo Grande, which is right outside which is basically Pismo Beach. So that's a 3-hour drive just to do that. And then on top of that, you're doing 4 shows every round per week. So the first week you do 4 shows, they drop your low score. Second week you do 4 shows, they drop your low score. Third week, you same thing. But the thing is, it's like the driving, like going from Chico one night and then driving home and then going 3 more hours the opposite direction next night. And then going into these rooms where, it's not San Francisco. These people may not have dating apps. These people may not be able to relate to what you normally do. So how do you adapt? And once I adapted, it was like, oh, I got this.
Smart, bro. Smart.
I remember I did that Rossmore show, and there was an older redheaded lady in the front, and I couldn't wait, and I made a "I Love Lucy" reference, and the place went crazy. And then me and Alex Cole got first and second, and I remember this old lady came up to us and went, "The Italian and the Jew, the funniest ones."
Yo, I love that spot because the funny part was they made us do TV clean. And so these old ladies came over to us after us and they were like, "Did y'all change your act? Because they told us you were going to be dirty. They told us you guys were going to be cussing and being dirty. That's why we came." And I was like, "You know what I'm saying, bitch? That's what I'm talking about, bitch. Tell these motherfuckers that we supposed to cuss."
That's what I'm talking about. I love that. That's what I'm talking about, bitch.
That's what I'm saying, yo, bitch. Let's go. You know, it was like one of those moments. And like once I got that, once you taste that first place, it's like, all right, you just got to put your foot on the neck. Because here's the thing: the last show, the last show was just in Royal Grande. I had technically already on points.
Oh, it was in Oregon?
Oh, no, Royal Grande. Royal Grande. No.
Yeah.
I technically had already won on points. Like there was no way I could lose the whole competition, even if I had a bad set that night. And I actually went in there that night thinking, I'm gonna try some new shit. I'm gonna, this is a joke I've been working on. Let me give it a shot because I'm winning. And then Tony Numbers, one of the producers, he pulls me to the side.
Oh, Tony Numbers.
Tony Numbers. And he counts the numbers. So
yeah.
So he pulls me to the side and he says, you won. And I was like, I mean, I guess. I'm trying to be humble, trying not to be like, yeah, motherfucker, but And he's like, well, check this out. Ellis Rodriguez was in the same position you were in a few years ago. And Ellis came into this last show and just kind of like went halfway on the set. Like Ellis is a beast. So for Ellis to go less than beast mode, it was like, what? And so he ended up coming in 5th on the show, on the final show, but he still ended up winning the competition. But the thing was, when the people heard that, they were like, that don't make sense. How did the least funny motherfucker tonight win the whole thing?
Yeah.
So he said, don't let off the gas. He said,
I'm gonna tell you right now. And this comes from like my sports background. You never celebrate until you cross the finish line. Right? Like you go hard to the very end. You got plenty of time to shit the bed and don't give a shit or don't care in other places. But when you win the thing at that moment, you never take your foot off the gas. There's a video, I think I posted it on Facebook. There's a video that it showed all these people who were ahead in races, right? And they kind of look over their shoulder and they see they got a big lead. And so they kind of let up and they're like, yeah, doing this whole thing. And then the other person just, and right at the last minute, they get beat. I think Sal and I had this conversation actually. So it's like, yo, there's no days off when you win it. No days off.
No days off.
I always feel with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm glad the producer pulled you aside because it's like, especially when you get first place, right? Like if you're winning, then it's like you still go out. Even on the last show, you go out and you let them know why. Like I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings. I ain't trying to be mean, but like I believe that I'm the shit, and I'm gonna show you why I'm the shit. So when this whole thing is done, everybody walks off like, yo, that dude is clearly he's hands down the man. Right. Yeah. So good for you. I'm glad that my man pulled you aside. Tony Numbers.
I felt like the first week's always one of the toughest because everyone has 5 minutes and anyone's funny in 5 minutes. So there's like 15 people and and there were some people who would do so well that first 5 minutes and then they get to the semis and once they hit 10, you see it fall.
Right.
No, that's exactly what happens. And I think that's why they have so many shows and it takes 4 weeks for this whole thing to happen because there was some like in the first round, there was some cat like I didn't really place that high in the first round. I was getting 3rd and 4th in the first round. Like I knew I was going to get into the top 5, but I wasn't getting top 1 and 2. I was getting beat. Like I got actually I take that back. I did get 1 and 2. Actually, I take that back. I'm sorry. I did place pretty high in the prelims because it was the semis that I didn't place that high in, but I was still getting into the top 5 except for one night in Chico when it was clearly a robbery. And that's because the judges, judges.
That's a problem too. The judges.
This one judge, he was drunk. He wasn't paying attention. He thought I was the first black guy that went up. So when I asked him how come I didn't place in the top 5, he was like, well, you went up first. And I'm like, nah, bro, I went up last.
Wow.
So
Dude,
don't
I
know.
remember
We've
there
had
was
this
a
conversation.
judge. There was
Okay.
a judge in the semi round of mine who lost in the prelims.
I was gonna say Chris,
and I was like, this motherfucker doesn't like me. And of course, I know what the fuck.
I was about to say Chris and I talked about that. Like there, I want to say in this in your round, there was a guy who was in an earlier round.
No, there was a guy who applied, didn't make it in, but still got the judge. Which
What
to
the fuck
me
is
was
that?
just like, okay,
Yo.
and it was cool. But when that right there, that kind of sparked a fire. Because I was like, I do not like this feeling of being robbed. And it brought it to my mindset of what my friends who fight in MMA say, which is don't leave it in the hands of the judges.
Right.
Don't leave it up to them to decide.
Right.
Make it undeniable.
Right.
And so again, Tony Numbers, I stormed out the game. Like, I'm not a sore loser. I don't get mad when I lose. I take it. But that night I was robbed and I was pissed off and I was out there acting like Reggie, a nigga. I was mad. I was heated. Audience members was walking by looking at me like, what happened?
They felt bad for you.
I don't know. And that's what made it worse because the audience is coming out like, you got robbed. You got robbed. And I'm like, oh, I know. And I'm pissed off. And Tony chases me down the street. Tony Numbers comes chasing me down the street. He said, here's what you do tomorrow. Slow down. Pace yourself. You're a fucking superstar. You got this. And I drove all the way back from Chico, 3 hours from Chico, listening to Kanye and King Von and all the most violent, most bravado music, just like, motherfuckers ain't stopping me tomorrow.
Nice.
I went out that next night. I demon slayed them. I went because the next night was in Santa Rosa at the Luther Burbank, which is like this big 1,300 seater, just beautiful theater, professional ass theater. And that night I went in there. For the first night I took my speaker in with me, and I just started playing my music in the green room, loud as fuck. I didn't care who was, and everybody was feeling the vibe. And Tom Rhodes was hosting that night.
Oh, my man, Tom. We
got
to get Tom
Rhodes. Oh,
yeah.
I love Tom Rhodes. I love watching that man work. He's such a great person too. Yeah. After, he's like, he's in there grooving with me. He's like, all right, yeah, I see you. He knows comes. I'm like, oh, Tom, what you know about this?
Yeah.
So did the set after we placed and everything. I placed 4th overall, but I was 3rd in the competition overall going into the finals. Tom pulls me to the side and he grabs me by the back of my head and pulls my head close to his. And he says, you got this. He says, this is yours. You just keep playing your music. Stay relaxed. Keep doing what the fuck you're doing. You're going to win this. You just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to win this. And I'm sitting there trying not to cry because I'm like, Tom Rhodes just give me. I'm like,
dude, Tom is
win this.
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, Tom is my dude. Tom is my dude, and we're gonna get Tom on here next because I think this would be great to follow up with. He's
like the most interesting man on earth. So,
absolutely. Chris, listen to this story. A lot of times people will hear stuff and they go, "Man, that's messed up. You got robbed. Man, I can't believe this." But everything happens for a reason. Right? And it's all about perspective. It's how you perceive things. Because if that doesn't happen, who knows if you have that same fire in the same way? I mean, obviously you're in it and you want to win, but like you said, that really sparked the flame under you. You was like, yo, I'm about to eat these fools, right? Like I'm really going in. So so it's about perspective. So I love the fact that you took that and ran with it and that it helped propel you. And here you are. Right.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think about it, like you said, everything has a reason. Like, I used to be very like, why am I not going on the road with Dave? It would be very upsetting to me. But now I'm realizing I wouldn't have won this competition if I went on the road with Dave. I probably wouldn't have got clean off drugs and alcohol if I'd been traveling with Dave because I wouldn't have taken the time to do it. There's so many things, and it's like there's so many things that happen for a reason. And I feel like that thing with Tom, that little message, because when I went into the finals, that night I saw you at the punchline. I was supposed to be taking those 2 nights off to relax. Right. I decided to go in and do those sets with Dave, and that momentum carried me into the next night, into the next night, into the next night, because it's just like, I unlocked a level of determination and commitment and perseverance in myself I didn't know I had. I unlocked a component of competition that isn't based in I want you to fail, but I'm gonna do better.
Right.
And my
Right.
motto for the last few shows was like, do better than you did last night. Because when I came in second on the second show, I was disappointed. I was like, fuck, I wanted that first. I thought I had that first place. But then I said, you know what? Man, I'm not, this is it. Top one the next 2 nights.
Yeah.
Like, there's no top 2, there's no top 5. Top 1 the next 2 nights. And I went out there the next 2 nights and I just said, I love you. I love you, Mario. I love you, Joe. I love you, Max. But y'all can't fuck with me on this. Like, I know my strong suit is long sets.
Right.
I know my strong suit is a 15-minute set because the prelims, that was when I was scared. Because I'm like, 5 minutes? I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over.
Right.
Even some of the comedians said to me, they thought that I was going to be out in the first round because they were like, Chris, is no way Chris can do a 5-minute set.
Right.
Chris is too funny. He's too strong. He's not going to be able to time that out. He's going to go over. And that was the most nervous week because it was like, what I did was I just took an opening joke and a closer joke and put them together.
Oh, there you go.
Smart. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then on the last shows, I started putting my closer at the beginning of the set.
Ooh, I put
my best closer at the beginning of the set. And when you put your closer at the beginning of the set, you can do the full closer. All the tags, everything that you wrote, the whole fucking thing, and just lock it down. And then everything else is like, you do some fillers and you do another closer, and that's it. And the mentality.
Chris over here cooking with grease.
Man,
he cooking with grease.
I'm trying to learn some recipes.
Ever since I've won this competition, my whole outlook on this thing has changed. My whole outlook on this comedy and how I pursue it has changed. I've been in LA back and forth for the past month, coming every 2 weeks, staying longer, getting opportunities. Like I've already gotten to audition for both bookers at the Improv. Got passed through that. Working in the Comedy Store now. It's now I'm learning how to use the talent. I'm talented.
And use this opportunity, right? Really ride this wave. I'm gonna make this quick. I got a chance to talk to your manager at the Punchline, the young lady who's helping you out. Felicia, phenomenal. She's really nice, man. I think, I'm hoping that things really work out. But there was a thing that I pointed out to her. I was like, at some point, the next level is acting, right? Like that's the next, because there's a point where it's like, okay, you get into the clubs, you get in the shows, you're getting on regularly and booked. The next step is acting. Is that something that you're interested in, or something that you want to do?
Yeah, I did a short film for the San Francisco Film Festival called Hannah's Biography. It's about a 81-year-old Korean grandmother who gets divorced, which a divorced 81-year-old. I'm like, we 80, motherfucker. We going to die together. We ain't getting divorced at 81. I'm sorry. You just got to go over there and cheat and die. I don't know where you going. Bring the bitch over. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
We just going to have to live together at this age. But she becomes a stand-up comedian. And so I play Jimmy, which is, the guy that runs the stand-up scene that she tries to get on, and me and her kind of develop a friendship at the end. But
well, that's good.
Definitely next.
Okay. I was going to say, because if you're in LA, because, the comedy is one thing in LA, but the next thing is they want to know, because that's where the real money is for them, for the agents and the, the managers. It's like, look, we'll take a little 10% of whatever you're getting at the club, but can you read a monologue? I mean, can you do a monologue? Can you read a teleprompter? Can you act? Can you maintain a character? Like, can you show up on time? Can you be professional? Right? Like,
exactly. Exactly.
So, I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm really happy, because I mentioned that to her, because I mentioned about the agencies in San Francisco that you may want to look into. But if you're in LA, then do that for sure.
No, I'm gonna do them both.
Yeah, doing both. I will say this too. Our last guest was John Hinton, Overton Wakefield from Living Single. And
another Cleveland boy, huh?
Yes. Yeah. And
there's we like to keep it here.
Well, there's a point in his story where he was going into his final audition for Overton, and it was him and one other guy. And he tells the story where he's like, "Yo, I told the dude before we went in, say, hey man, look, this ain't personal. Like, I like you. You're a nice guy, but this one ain't for you."
Yeah.
All right. He's like,
I wish you well in all your endeavors.
Yeah, I wish you well.
But this one right here.
But this right here, this mine right here. So, and I'm only saying that to say that your perspective kind of mirrors that going into it. Like, hey, look, man, this ain't personal, right? Like, I think all you guys are worthy in a lot of ways, but tonight, or this competition right here, oh yeah, this one mine. You can come back next year if you want to.
The thing is, I noticed everybody in the competition who was kind of wanting other people to do bad so they can advance.
They fall off. Yeah.
You can't advance. You can't focus on yourself if you're waiting for someone else to fuck up. If your whole plan is that person messes up, I'm in. That's not going to work.
No. Right.
And
that's a negative.
Yeah,
right.
My plan, like I was at every competition, I'm bigging up people. I'm like, yo, like, you know, this young kid, James Morrow, he wasn't having the sets he wanted. And I told him, bro, just relax. You know how to do comedy. Go out there and just do you. Don't worry about everybody else. You know, I'm giving cats an encouragement. I'm like, I don't want to be the type of person where I know I'm good, but I'm an asshole about it.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
so
yeah.
like I'm giving people I'm like trying to help out, not give unsolicited advice, but say, hey, you know what you did? You got to slow down on that. You know, the same thing that Tony Numbers did for me. I felt like, you know, in a competition of comedians, I want everybody to do good. And we're all comedians. We're all friends. We all hang out each other. We do shows with each other. We never have this, I need you to have a bad set thing. We always do this, have a good set, let's go. And so before people go on stage, they're like, hey, kill it. Have a good set. Beat me. Let's go.
Right.
Because I want you to beat me.
Makes it better.
Your skill.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what they say? Iron sharpens iron, or steel sharpens steel, right?
Same thing.
So, and plus energetically, come on, man. You can't build on other people's failures.
Right.
That's a negative point of view, right? Like it's got to be about positivity and love. Like you get more flies with honey than you do vinegar. So it's not about you doing poorly. It's like, no, I want you to do your best because that actually will push me to do my best. And if you do well, now the audience is happy, they do well, then I come out and that means that I can do my thing, right?
Yeah.
So energetically speaking, I don't think anybody will ever truly succeed if they're hoping for other people to fail, because that's not necessarily pushing themselves to be the best that they can be.
Yeah, focus on you.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like the you know, I was still in shock when I won it. I didn't really, you know, in my mind I thought I'm gonna win this, I'm gonna be crying, I'm gonna be excited, but it was just so like, wow, I won this. And it wasn't until I texted my daughters and I texted them, I said, hey guys, your dad won the competition. And my youngest daughter, she texted me back, she said, we knew you were going to do it. Said, we believed in you, Dad.
Oh, man, that's beautiful, bro.
Man.
That's beautiful.
That right there, bro, that changed every fucking thing. That made me feel like, man, I'm so good. And it was just to get messages from other comedians who were like, bro, you winning this shows that good people do win.
Right. Good things happen to good people.
You win, like hearing people who I didn't even think paid me any attention, hitting me up like, bro, that's big. Yeah. You deserve this. Because, you know, Reggie, going through drug addiction and the things I've been through in the past few years, you don't feel like you deserve anything.
Right.
You don't feel like you don't feel like you deserve to win shit. Like, how does a piece of shit drug addict deserve to win anything? And when you do, it's like, it's a feeling you never knew existed, but you've seen.
Right.
I've seen this feeling with Tom Brady. I've seen this feeling with Kobe. I've seen Steph Curry have this feeling. And to have it yourself, Reggie, man, I tell you, I sat in my room and I literally just cried for like 20 minutes of just like letting everything out of like, fuck.
Right.
Look where you came out at the end of all the shit you went through. When you thought you were going to take your life, when you thought you weren't going to survive, when you thought that there was nothing you could do right, and you do this, and people are happy for you. Yeah. Because, you know, you don't think that people are happy for you. This competition, this industry will have you thinking everybody wants you to fail. Right. But then you hear these people who just say things to you like, somebody finally won it who deserved it. Finally, a comedian who I respect won this. It's about time we get some real winners, you know, and then being from the Bay Area too, winning it. It's like,
you
know,
wow. Hey man, Chris,
that's
man,
awesome, man.
Man, I love you, bro. I love you, bro.
Love
and
you,
for real, man,
I
want to tell you right now, bro, you absolutely deserve it. I've sat in the back of the room and watched you on stage, and the one thing I've always said about Chris Riggins is I go, this brother is fearless. He's not afraid to be vulnerable. He is fearless. He takes chances and he does it. And so I'm so happy for you, man. And you absolutely deserve it. And just remember, whatever you've experienced and whatever you've overcome in the past, and those hardships and those hard times, I know about some of those things. Hey man, they don't define you. That's not who you are. Those are things that you've experienced. Who you are is who you are right now, right? The person that's overcome those things and been able to persevere and keep, like being a drug addict, right? Overcoming depression, right? And overcoming everything else. That's not who you are. You're the person that overcame those things. So remember that you absolutely deserve that. And I'm with you 100%, man. I hope you felt my love when you told me.
Oh, dude.
Right.
I felt it. It's like I said, there's people like Reggie who, when he says he gives you love, it's like you feel it. Like Reggie, you have this immense big brother. Like not the mean big brother. Not the mean big brother, but the big brother that shows up at the school with McDonald's for you. Like, come on, little homie, let's go to a movie. Like that's
get some McNuggets.
You know what I'm saying? Like that big brother. So to hear it from certain people, like I said, it's certain people that matter more. And that's the thing about it. Like you search for love and attention from everybody. Mm-hmm. And you have to remember the people who want to give you love and attention are the people you have to feed back into.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to feed back into those people, because those are the people that are going to fill you when you're at your lowest, and they're going to encourage you.
I'm going to tell you right now, when you just said that you told your daughters that you won, and her response was, we knew you were going to win because we believe in you. That right there, that means more than 100 people that you don't know that Man, said, you get that one person who does that's the difference. Focus on that, because that's where it really comes from. Like, and it's not about me at all, but I'll say this. I can say that I can persevere through anything because I know that I have a group of people that I know that love me, support me, care about me through anything and everything. You give me those people, you get those people to say, Reg, you can do anything, the whole world can be against me.
Right.
The whole world can be against you. But if you got that core group of people that know you, love you, support you, know what you've been through, and those are the people that's like, Chris, you got this. Chris, we believe in you. Chris, you the man. Chris, you can do this. You believe that. You fuck the rest. Right? You get your team behind you, bro. You get your team of people, and you're like, yo, let's go. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. So, and that's what I love about you, and that's my friend Felicia. Like, she came into my life and just said, I'm going to help you.
That's awesome.
Wow. Team Riggins, bro.
Team Riggins. I'm all the way. No, when you hit me up and you was like, yo, how do I get on this podcast? It was a no-brainer. It was like, as soon as you hit, I was like, yo, because I hit you right back, like, yo, we're going to make this happen.
Yeah. So he asked us, or you asked?
I requested.
Well, because he saw a clip. He responded to a clip, one of our clips, and he was like, yo, man, how do I do this? I was like, oh man, look, don't even, I got you. Like, let's make it happen.
Yeah, you the man. You the man.
Yeah,
Chris.
so, man, thank you so, Chris. Thank you so much for taking the time today, man. We really appreciate it.
And sharing so much.
And hold up though, we're gonna have to come back, because if you don't mind, I would love to talk to you about.
You want to talk about drugs?
Yeah, I'm like, let's talk about the next level.
Reg don't know nothing about drugs. We gotta talk about.
I know. Reggie's eyes are so clear.
It's true, man. It's true. I don't know much, but I think that even just hinting at that. Right. I believe that those stories, your perseverance, your overcoming it, the struggles, right. And coming out on the other side of it, I think that would be so compelling and uplifting to so many other people who may be experiencing the same thing. Right.
To John Henton.
Yes. And very similar to John Henton, because that was a real big thing for him too, as well. If you haven't seen that episode, I would say go back and watch and listen to it, because he talked about, being a comedian, making it out, coming up, getting this opportunity, and then having access, and then everything that comes along with that, the success,
the car crash, man.
The drug abuse. Yeah. And when he talked about stopping, hearing how he stopped, that shit is chilling, bro. Right. So, we'll, if you don't mind, we'd love to have you back at some point. And we can talk about, because there's more to us than just the entertainment and the comedy. There's a real life part of us, right? The real world parts. And we can delve into that and talk about perseverance and overcoming and doing the hard work, right? And discipline,
hard work,
right? Doing the hard work. So, hey man, so what's next? I know you coming up. You want to go ahead and tell us where you're gonna be next? I know you're gonna be at the Alameda Comedy Club coming up in December.
Yeah, the Alameda Comedy Club. I'm doing my headlining weekend there, the 16th and 17th, 2 shows, 7 to 9. Get your tickets.
Nice.
You can go to my Instagram on my link tree. The tickets are there. Also, you can go to the Alameda Comedy Club website, pick them up there. And yeah, that's pretty. I'm pulling back on as many shows as I used to do, so I could focus on doing more, bigger shows, and also being able to bring people out. Because when you do too many shows, people are like, "I'll see you next show," and they'll next show you to death. So,
right. So,
cool,
drop all
man.
your handles too. Where can people find you? Where do they find you at?
Chris Riggins Comedy on Instagram. Comedy Chris on Twitter. Even though I'm not on Twitter that much no more. I don't even know. Are we on Twitter now? I don't know what's happening.
I know Elon Musk messed it up for everybody.
I remember Twitter back when it was the Wild Wild West, and I kind of missed that. But with moderation. But yeah, just find me on Instagram, Chris Riggins Comedy.
We'll tag you.
Find me.
Okay.
I would say Facebook, but I end up going to Facebook jail all the time. So
well, thank you so much, Chris.
I see the nails are painted. I've always wanted to know what are the nails. I know there's something. It's something about your daughter, right? Or one of your daughters.
I started off doing it with my youngest daughter. Like I would go to the nail shop with her, and she would get painted. She's like, "Dad, you should put a color on my nails." So I'd start off with like the middle finger with black.
Okay.
And then I just started, having fun with it. And then what really hit. You know what really does, Reggie?
What's that?
When that fine chick walks up to you, she's like, "I love your nails," and you're like,
the things that we do for women, I tell you.
Oh my God.
These old things.
Like I started doing it for a woman, and then I'm doing it for other women now. So
right. Nice. Well, hey man, thank you so much for taking the time, Chris. You're amazing, bro. Much luck and success to you. Yeah, and
Thanks,
Chris. I'll be in the background watching. I'm gonna hit you up every once in a while. Like, how you doing, bro? I still got your strip from back in the day. Don't forget.
I'm rewriting it again. So it's like on this third revision. But actually, you're still very much the person I'm writing it for.
Wow.
Well, I better make sure I get back in the gym. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get it.
Well, actually, maybe not. It might work if you're not completely fit, but you got the physique. You're good. So.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, hey man, good luck to you. Much success. And like I said, we'll be in touch. Have a wonderful day, brother. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you, Sal. Reggie, thank you so much, y'all.
Yes, sir. Have a great day. Peace.
All right, man. Y'all too.
Peace. There it is, Reggie.
Yes, sir.
There it is. I got to pee, bro. So we're going to have to wrap.
Yo, I got to pee too.
You got me long-winded.
I know.
I did have a funny competition story. Well, a controversial story.
Okay.
But I didn't want to bring you guys really in the zone. I didn't want to make it about
Go ahead and
me.
drop it right now, though. Go ahead and drop it right now.
I don't want to make it about me, but the San Francisco comedy competition in 2011 was the only time I've ever said the N-word on stage. So
what? Wait.
Your face is
Yo, there's no way that you should have interrupted our flow to drop to let us know. So Chris and I both
man's crying and stuff. I don't want to.
Like Chris and I both could have been like, "What the fuck, Sam?"
Well, here's the story. And now here's another thing, because he was bringing up about different times, and it is true. Like this was 2011, fall 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So this is before Trayvon, which happened February 2012. So before Black Lives Matter. So before a lot of that stuff, where I feel like Obama was president, and if people could say stuff, be funny. People be funny. But then what happened is racist idiots, like the whole Chris Rock thing, bring the pain. Once white people started trying to explain to black people versus other people groups, then they thought they could say it. So so nowadays it might not have, but this is what happened in the situation. It was like the competition. I was not placing any night. It was a prelims, only 5 minutes.
So you had to go to the.
I was getting depressed. I was traveling, not getting anything. And this is the second time I'd done it. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And I was so depressed. I remember Shay took me out one time after Saturday because he was in it with me. And the first round, he was doing well and I wasn't doing shit. So I didn't place at all.
Whoa.
We go into the final, but like, what are you saying about the points? So I was in the middle the whole time. So I was close. And then you go in the final round, is in Crow's Nest, Santa Cruz. Okay. The whole time I'm following Stroy Moyd. So Stroy.
Yeah, he's got energy.
Loud, young black kid.
Yeah, so Stroy throws out the N-bomb every other word.
Yeah, every other word. So they're constantly like, they try and change the order, but you're still in blocks. And I'm like following him every show. And it's just like annoying, right? So I had this joke where I do this joke about Greg Edwards, right? Another black comedian.
Oh,
and he did a Planet of the Apes, right?
Yes.
And he was saying the joke, the Planet of the Apes movie was racist, this and that. So in the joke, I'm just like, my friend Greg says, blah. So this thing, I was just so over it. I'm like, it's last night. What do I have to lose? I don't care anymore. So it's Stroy up, and I was like, yeah. And then my black friend Stroy, he went and said, "Me, that is racist, right?" And I said it, and the whole place stopped and looked at me, and then erupted.
Oh, well, because they just heard him say, they just heard him say nigga at least in a 5-minute set
times.
at least 17 times. Right? Because I know Stroy like, hey, what's up, niggas? Oh man, nigga, this nigga said to me, I was like, nigga, whatever, nigga. I ain't tripping off that nigga, man. I was walking down the street and nigga came up to me. I was like, what, nigga? He was like, what, nigga? I was like, oh no, nigga. He's like, oh no, nigga. He's like, all right, nigga, cool, nigga. Keep on walking. Right?
So yeah, I did it. It erupted. I guess Kevin Shea leaned over to someone and was like, he just won the competition tonight. And afterwards, I ended up getting second that night. And then it was enough to propel me to fourth overall. And then I went to the semis. And then it was on, because then you have room to work. But I had no idea, because even once they said the fifth place winner, I was like, all right, it's done. I did what I could. And then they were like, fourth South. I was like, what? And then it was on. And then I got to the semis, beat out Shea, went to the finals. But yeah, man, it was the only time, and it crushed.
Dude, I can't believe. I mean, this won't be the first time that a nigga came to the rescue. Won't be the first time that a nigga had to come in and bail somebody out of some shit, you know. Shit.
Crazy though, crazy.
Niggas gotta do what niggas gotta do. That's just what it is. Sometimes, you know, I ain't mad at you because the reason I'm not mad at you,
it was an impersonation.
It was because you're repeating what someone else said, right?
In that moment, like 5 minutes before me.
Right, exactly. So you get a pass. I ain't gonna say a
no,
pass.
I do. I wasn't an idiot.
Yeah, I'm like, don't say it again. You can't. Hey, look, you get out of jail card one time, right? That's it. Once. So
see, I had the balls to say it publicly in front of everybody. So there you go.
And honestly, knowing Stroy, knowing the context of the situation, like, and also feeling I know you're feeling the pressure of like, yo, this shit is not working out. Feeling like you gotta put out all the stops, right?
Yeah, it was like you were saying, studying fucking places. I'm like, oh, I should have thought of that.
You're literally pulling everything out of the bag. Yeah. You're like, what else is in this bag? You pull everything, and you're like, oh,
there's that N-word.
Here it is. You're like, shit. This is my last ditch effort. That's the trump card, bro. You're like, whoo, made it through. So
it was crushed.
Hey,
all right, man, wrap us up so we can urinate.
All right, real quick. One more final shout out to my man Chris Riggins for coming through big time. Love him sharing his story. We really appreciate it. Please go check out his show, check out his website, follow him. I think Chris is on the precipice of the next phase and the next developmental leap for him, entertainment wise, comedic wise.
Marvel Stage 4.
Yeah. So yeah, go check him out. We had a great time. I hope you enjoyed it. That's Sal Kalani. I'm Reggie Steele. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you next time. This is Spitballin. Peace.